I'd like to add. See, the provisioner with the normal shell script was easy, but the Ansible was little tricky. There was some
Okay.
module issue, and
Mhm.
I had to troubleshoot a lot.
Okay.
But finally I
Yeah.
figured it out, and there was Python interpreter issue was there.
Okay.
We had to map
Okay.
it to Python 2 version
Yeah.
depending upon the module we are using.
Shell script is more for beginners, like if somebody who is starting. So that is not the
Hmm.
final, I would say, the right approach. But yeah, this is a good combination of Ansible and Packer that gives you the actual power. But this for any simple use case where you need one image, you don't have complex scenarios, but you can use this.
Yeah, I could work it out. Yeah, it was successful. Yeah, the project was interesting actually.
Project is interesting, and this is just the beginning. I'm sure
Hmm.
when everything comes together, once in the second phase, we can create the Docker image, and in the third phase, we create the infrastructure. That is when it will get really interesting. So you see, the idea is that it should be a sizable project that you can project as an experience kind of thing. So that with that intention, uh, try to build that story in your thoughts, that if you have to use this, show this as an experience, how do you do that? Try to build that sort of uh, mind and those thoughts so that you can present this as an experience in future. And uh, mention that you have been managing gold uh,
Golden
plated
AM.
images or that sort of thing, AMIs, because AMIs, the things that we are doing, which are done mostly at most of the companies, so pretty much all the companies, but different use cases. So people would be creating AMIs for anything that they want to launch in containers, or even the Kubernetes worker nodes will have a base AMI. So that if they have to create a new worker node, that comes up quickly and it has all the dependencies. If people are deploying application in the Elastic Beanstalk or any such other platform, there are AMIs applicable. So any such scenario, you would have AMIs for your machines. And remember, this is very much um, similar to a Docker image being there. So you would have a packaged, ready to go Docker image. Same concept. You should have a packaged, ready to go Packer or your AMI image as well. So you can apply this kind of constructs in your Docker projects as well. There you would have different syntax. You will create Docker file and other such stuff to create the image. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I could. Yeah, I finished part two also.
Okay.
Scanning
Awesome.
with the Sonar Cloud, building the jar, building the
Okay.
image, and then pushing it to Docker Hub. I tried with JFrog. That's the first time I've been trying, but I could not do it. So for
Okay.
now, for the time being, I pushed it to Docker Hub.
Okay. But since you have time, you should you know
Yeah,
target that extended goal. Let's do some demos. Let's see if whoever wants to bring their project, just raise their hand, and then we will they can share, and then we can get started. People who could not accomplish yet, this was a small sort of project, so you can learn from this demo today, and you can try to implement in your own time, but try to come up to a speed where by the next end of next week we should be ready with phase 1 and 2. Phase 3 is where if you don't finish it by then you are really behind. Right now it's still manageable. It it's not that far. You are still in the game. So
so
who
Sanjay,
wants to go?
if I have to present it, just share my screen and show the pipeline, how my Jenkins file, Docker file, and everything would be fine, or it should be video or something like
Yeah, just show your screen and
that.
explain it to them, and anybody who has any doubt, anything, just ask those questions, or anything that you feel is relevant. This is that opportunity where you can ask questions, you can uh, explain where you struggled, where you have learned most, and I will try to add any extra point if I have, but otherwise that's how we will go in this session. So Dinesh
Or
is going first, then Karthik, and then Nabil. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen, Sanjay. Now.
Yeah. Just also like just explain 1 or 2 points like what you did, and so if it
Sure. Yeah.
you have the sharing rights or something.
Yes, yes, I have.
Cool. Shruti next. Oh, like fourth place.
Could see the screen, right, Sanjay?
We can, yes.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. So, let me explain the project first. So initially we had to we wanted the Jenkins machine where we could run the pipelines. So I have chosen AWS Cloud for that, and I've launched an EC2 instance to install all the necessary, Jenkins and all. For that also, I have uh, generated this Terraform code for that, so it will be helpful even for the third part. So I will show you.
Can you zoom in a little bit? This font is very small, Dinesh.
Yes, yes, yes. So I have my Terraform code in here. So this is a main.tf. So this is a simple instance. I have my VPC also. I did not make into modules yet, but I will do it in the future. So in my custom VPC, I've launched an EC2 instance. So in this particular EC2 instance, this is the EC2 instance. So in this particular EC2 instance, I have installed Jenkins. And because I am using Packer for Ansible module, so this is a Packer configuration. I'm using Ansible as a provisioner module. So I had to install Ansible in this particular EC2 instance. And I've installed Jenkins. And if I have to show the Jenkins file first, so this is a Jenkins file. In the first stage, these are the environment variables necessary to, AWS access key ID. It will ask, if we are connecting it to the EC2 instance. So that's the reason I have the access key ID and the secret access key. So in the first stage, it is Packer init, and that's where we do, and this is a just format and validate. These are optional commands, optional stages you can have. And third stage is Packer build AMI, where we are building the EC2. Sorry, we are building the AMI. So I will show you the, this is a configuration where it will build. So I've taken instant type is T2 micro, and the source AMI I've taken Amazon Linux 2. I'm logging in as EC2 user, and these are the subnet and security group of the VPC. And the region is US is 2. So after that, let me go back to Jenkins file. So after Packer build, this is another stage where Sanjay was given the pet clinic code. It was not working from me, so I have taken another project from GitLab. So where it is scanning the code. I'll show you the scanning code window also. And after that, I'm building the jar, MVN clean and package. Next, after the jar is built, based on the Docker file, I am building the Docker image. So the Docker file is here. So I'm taking the base image as OpenJDK 8 JRE. Alpine is the lightest version they say. So I've chosen this one, and I'm exposing 8080. And the current, copy target, whatever the jar file will build will be in actually in target folder. It will be with this name. So I'm copying it to the USR AAP. This will be in the image. So the current directory I'm choosing it as USR APP. So whatever I'm copying will be copied into this particular path, and that working directory will be this one. So this working directory will be the default directory now. So whatever the commands will run, it will run from this particular path. So once the jar is built, this is a command to run the jar application. So once that is done, I'm building the image. So just Docker build -t. So we have to Docker login first. For building the image, we don't have to log in, but for pushing the image to Docker Hub, we have to log in. So in order to log in, we need to use the username and password. For that, I have stored my Docker Hub credentials in Jenkins. So these are the Docker Hub credentials. So once the Docker Hub credentials are stored, I'm calling it as, I'm using this particular plugin where you can call the username and password, separately. So once you got those separated credentials, you can define into a variable and then call those particular variables here. So I'm logging here. We can actually log in Docker login -u user and -the password, but for the security reasons, Jenkins pipelines shows, you have to do it in this particular way. So I tried this one, it worked out. So then, and then simply, Docker push the particular repository, whatever I have in Docker Hub. So this is the Docker Hub. Image name. So with that particular image name, I'm using the environment variable from Docker. So whatever the build number you are building the Jenkins pipeline with that particular pipeline. For suppose this is a particular pipeline 46. So the same 46 tag will be given here. If you refresh, this is a 46. So this is how I did. If it is any mistakes are there, I think Sanjeev could help me.
No, this is all perfectly done. I think you have gone beyond what was expected in first week, but just to double check the image, the code that you are taking, does that have any RDS as well, some database component to it?
Yes, it has. It has RDS also. Even if it doesn't have, I will change the code and make sure it has the
It
RDS
has
database.
some database attached to it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So these are the all stages.
Sorry to interrupt. Dinesh, I have one doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
Here you have explained like you have integrated Sonar Cloud, right? So in order to integrate that, is that token is sufficient, or you have to install any specific plugins for Sonar Cloud in Jenkins?
No, you have to go to the browser Sonar Cloud, where this token is enough. It's more than enough. It will show this
I have
token, right? You have
integrated
to.
Sonar Cube with my GitHub, and I have attached the token in Jenkins. Is this fine, or any additional step we have to do for
No,
Sonar?
I did not use Sonar Cube here. I used Sonar
Sorry,
Cloud.
Sonar Cloud.
So
I'm sorry, Sonar Cloud.
yeah, that is enough. That Sonar token, you save it in Jenkins credential and
Yes,
call
I
that
did.
credential here like this, and use this
Okay.
Sonar token as an environment variable and call it here.
Okay.
Just that's it. And this is a command it will anyway give. You have to just call this
I'm
command.
not sure about that command. Okay.
This command, you're talking about this command?
Yeah, that's in, yeah.
Yeah, when you log into Sonar Cloud, it will automatically give you, when you launch, when you select your particular project, when you initialize it,
did.
it will show that
I think
command.
I did it, but I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. I think you.
Can you please show me the location?
I'll share you the
Yeah, sure.
the particular command how to get it.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Dinesh.
No problem. Anytime.
Is this in
And
some
also,
public
Dinesh,
repository, Dinesh?
Yeah, because I had this into private, but Sonar Cloud was asking me to do the paid version, so I had to switch to free version and sorry public repo. Then I had to call it here.
Okay, if you can paste it, then others can refer that in
Sure,
future.
definitely.
You anyway don't have any credentials stored, so it's all good.
Okay, you want me to share the GitLab this thing?
Wherever your code is, repository,
Yeah.
GitLab or
All right.
GitHub.
Yes. I'll share definitely.
Cool. So
yeah,
this is good progress.
Right.
Just try to see what's
Stop
wrong
my.
with Pet Clinic. If it is a universal issue, then we will switch from that repository. But somehow that's used in a lot of demos and presentations.
Mhm.
Somebody had question before we move.
Yes.
Somebody was asking a question
yeah,
and then please go ahead.
yeah. Dinesh, I just want to know, have you integrated with Snake in this clone repo?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way. It was thing I'm looking at because I'm even wanted to integrate with the Snake and
Mhm.
just to check the repos. Yesterday I've
Mhm.
tried that, and it was just a website and where we have to integrate with the Jenkins credentials and uh, that API token, and where we need to import that. One thing which which I've seen is Sanjeev, you can clear my doubt. Is that Sneak works with only GitHub Actions? Because I've seen the documentation in the website,
No.
it,
So it will work with other platforms as well. But
uh
the free version may not work, may not give you the CLI capabilities. So you just like Sonar, you can have a stage and then you can scan your code against Sneak. That may not be possible. You can try that, but I think that feature was not there in the free version.
yeah.
So
When I've seen in Sneak or UI, where I need to import
yeah,
automatically, or I need to import, and then it will check the code, the
correct,
GitHub repo.
correct, correct. So that's a shortcut or with the free version that we can do because there are limited products in this space. Veracode, Checkmark, Sneak offers a bit of free capability. The
Mhm.
other products don't. So let's for now just integrate uh, Sneak with your public repository and just observe what kind of defects or what kind of information it is giving and how is it different from Sonar. So that bit of analysis only we would be able to do in the free version, but eventually in the actual enterprise version or paid version of Sneak, it offers pretty much similar to what you saw in the for the Sonar Cube analysis. You have a specific CLI command with your token and some login details and your repository. You run it on that specific project, and then it will identify whether this is a Java project or a .NET project or Node.js application, Docker file. It will identify all such type of different files, and based on that, it will give you detailed analysis.
Okay.
So that bit of you may not be able to put it in CI/CD process and as a step, but you can always integrate in isolation. That difference you have to understand, and because it's a free version, and then you have to, based on your SonarCube knowledge, you have to tell them if in any of discussion or anything that this is possible in the CI/CD also.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty much new to this. All this Sonar Cube and the code scanning, all this stuff. Before that, I've worked as an operations side in the
Okay.
Linux administrator. When I switched this, it's really difficult for me to get the Sonar Cloud and the Sneak integration and the code things. But I'm trying
Mhm.
that, and also for the part one thing, I wanted to showcase, and Dinesh has shown up until part 2 that is perfectly with Ansible also. I think that is very good. He has done a very good job, and I have done only part 1 with Ansible. Initially, I've tried with shell scripting, but okay, let's take a step ahead because I've previously had a little bit of knowledge on Ansible also. I thought like let's integrate in through Packer, and I've done that through Ansible.
Let's jump onto your demo and we'll.
Yeah,
So, Sanjay, there was one issue with the pet clinic. It was working on my local
Mhm.
computer, but
Okay.
when I do the same Maven clean package in the EC2, it was showing error was java.lang array
Mhm.
outbound issue. I
Okay.
don't know if it is. I think it is related to code, I guess. I could not
Okay.
resolve it.
But you said it's working on your laptop, so that
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was working on my laptop, but it's not working on EC2. I
so
tried
then
with
it's not
the
a code
latest
issue, right? Then
JDK.
it's an environment issue,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're right.
If it
Yes,
is
correct.
not working everywhere, then it's a probably a code issue. But if it works somewhere, but anyway,
Yeah,
let's see if others have done something, if they are able
sure,
to run this. Yeah.
sure. I'm stopping my screen.
Yeah, Karthik, please take over. And
yeah,
please keep the font size bigger for everyone to see.
sure.
Um,
Screen. Hope you guys can see my screen now.
yep,
Yes.
font is small, so if you can zoom in.
Okay, is it fine?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is my repo that I have taken from that which was shared, and these are previous. This is the provisioner script. I mean, which I have not made any changes, and it's because I've not worked with it. And this is a Jenkins file which I have written for initially. So it will install all this necessary Ansible and Packer in my local system. And I've also thought like let us thought of doing that in a Docker, installing the Docker in my system, and it will create a Docker image, and then install all of these applications and then run. But I've got less time for which I've done it in the local system. I have all this my setup in my local setup here. So I have done all this thing here. So so you have taken AWS credentials here, and with access ID and secret key. This is the first step which have where if you'll install all these Ansible and Packer packages. And the second stage, this with initiate the Packer and run this Packer script. That's my Jenkins file. And in this Packer file, I will install the basic region and AMI and detail, I mean AWS details, in which region I have to create the image on. And later coming to the build, I have given like this one and provisioner as Ansible. This is a thing which initially, I mean, for the shell scripting part, we will give like, okay, shell script here and give multiple scripts. Here I've just moved to Ansible. This is my Packer script with Ansible. Initially, I've got an issue like where I couldn't install the Ansible commands in through this Packer file. But somehow, I mean, after installing this one, oh, sorry, let me come back. So I need to install separately Ansible also, this step. And Jenkins was taking from its path, because of which it couldn't recognize Ansible. Later that I have figured that out and made it like this. So this is my code here, and when I go to Jenkins to run this build, it goes in there and it takes all the commands in my from my local system. Everything is installed in my local system, and yet again, I mean, it will take the packages, and it will whenever if we have to run in any other system also, it will download the packages, install them in the local system, and it's unzipping Packer, and it's trying to now installing the Packer init and Packer build. It's trying to create the EC2 instance in that specific region. Initially, there were many issues were there, but I mean, I was going step by step. I didn't done anything like this prior, hands-on. So it's really challenging for me to do all this stuff and really interesting also. What I've thought is, okay, this is the first step which I have done. I mean, all the configuration is in my system and installing in my local system, but I don't want to do that, and I have wanted to integrate with the Docker engine and Docker instance, container instance, and then in there I should run able to run this. This is a thing which I have thought in my mind. I will update that later point if I get any more time.
Cool. So yeah, this is awesome. Through an Ansible playbook and doing it in real time. While we are on this, just to add just a little bit of value, because AMIs are regional in nature, this you are doing for one specific region, but companies usually operate in more than one region sometimes. Like there's no general rule, but usually they have more than one region. So in that case, you have additional features, additional parameters where you can pass in the code to which region you want to do it. So then it will copy the same, it will use the same code, create it in one region, but also copy that image to other regions as well. Same you can do for multiple accounts also. If you have more than one account and you want to use the same code, then you can again specify the number of the account ID in the code. You can find out that there's a specific parameter. You can add that and it will do it for all your accounts and all your regions. So that's usually in large enterprises where multiple regions are there. Then it's very easy for with this process to copy it to in that region and then that account.
Yeah. And for I just for yesterday I started looking for part two also, wherein I couldn't able to understand this pet clinic project where I have no prior experience in anything. I didn't know anything how this code integration works and how Gradle and Maven will work also. Yes, actually I've run manually in my local system using Gradle and Maven also. Somehow,
Okay.
let me show you. I was getting many issues actually with the code, but I've checked with
Did you read the
like in
README file, which version and all that it are required?
yes, I've read all that, and but somehow it was stopping for only looking for one program actually, one plugin actually, wherein I had to manually add that. Even that also didn't work. Again, I have switched it to the previous version which we had before. I mean, just in the bed cleaning, it did run surprisingly without any changes. So I was able to successfully running with the Gradle and Maven also, both of them.
Okay, cool,
So
cool, cool.
next thing I wanted
So,
to integrate them.
so usually, like since you are new, you mentioned you are still trying to learn. What happens is this is one example of pet clinic, right? This is basic, simple example. Usually in enterprise, a DevOps engineer would be requested or given a task that you go and implement some pipeline or automation for application X, you would have no idea how that's built. That could be a mobile application, that could be your banking application of that company, or whatever that could be, right? So you would go and you would talk to the developers. You will understand how they build that application on their laptops, what Java version they use, what other tools they use, what dependencies they use. So that is a sort of discovery process that you will work with the application team, understand that how they do it on their laptop, their test machine, their build machine, and all that. And then you will bring that knowledge and try to do that in Jenkins. So that's how it works in the real time also. Just that in the pet clinic, because it's an industry standard for doing demos and that sort of thing, they have given some information to get you started. But usually you will discover that talking to the developers.
Yeah. And also yesterday I've got to know like this, I mean, building with Gradle and Gradle W, the difference between them, and W will use just the wrapper to maintain I mean, the versions of them, which there might be many developers working with different versions of uh, Java versions, right? Of many applications. So Gradle W, correct me if I'm wrong, Sanjay, W only maintains the version will be the same. It's just a wrapper, I believe so, for Gradle. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I did
Okay.
that long back. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anyone has got some comment like W or any specific case matters here?
And no, as far as I know, Sanjeev, Gradle W is just a command same like Gradle. But
Okay.
most of the time it is, most recently people have started using Gradle W command to build, the
Okay.
same way how we build MVN clean package. We use
Okay.
Gradle W. That's it. I don't think there is much difference.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. After saying like Gradle also build that Java application, and Gradle W also will build the application. But I mean, Gradle W is like W is a wrapper of Gradle, wherein it
Mhm.
will, yeah. I've seen that Google. That's I don't have much more knowledge on that.
Okay.
I've run through Gradle itself. So coming to this in our uh, sorry, I have my VM. So the build is success with the pipeline and AMS were created.
Yep.
So in my EC2 instance, these are the AMIs which were there,
Yeah.
which were created, and we have the snapshots also.
Remember, they
Yeah.
are private AMIs for your account. They will not be accessible outside. So if anybody wants to use this, will not be accessible.
Yeah.
So just read about this. This is just to get you started. Just get a little bit of idea more
Yeah.
about AMIs when you are doing. Uh, Slightly more complex scenarios could be that you would be asked, or your AWS account will enforce that your root volume that you are creating your AMI with has to be encrypted. So that sort of scenarios may come up, or complex things would be asked. But if you know this, you will be able to figure out the remaining complexities. Well done. Just read about making it, copying the image in different region and different accounts, and also read about the root volume being encrypted. These are 2 or 3 extended options. So just read about them also. So you are ready
Yeah.
for any interview or any such discussion that happens. You are good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Karthik. Let's move on to the next one. Nabil.
Yeah, hello. Yeah. Yeah, I already recorded a video and I will show it to you.
How long is that? And
It's simple at 3 point something minutes.
okay. If it is recorded, you just send it on WhatsApp group, right? Everybody's there. They can just watch it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Right? If you want to show something, people can ask question, then that would be more interactive. Video, you just post it on WhatsApp group.
Okay, okay.
That's my suggestion, because it will be very boring people watching it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah, exactly. Okay, okay, I will send it.
if you have time, you want to present, go for it now. Or video.
Yeah, I will share the video in group. I think
Cool.
it will be better. Okay.
All right. That presentation in here or in video, presentation skills are also valued a lot. It opens up for discussion, shows that you are confident. So if in future, if you guys get such opportunity, just go for it. I am actually looking for such opportunity somewhere in AWS events, or I'm talking to such people. I used to do a lot during the COVID time when online events were happening. Now every meetup, everything has gone like in person, and because I'm here, not getting those many opportunities, but try to explore those kind of options also if you are getting any time. All right, Shruti, next then we'll Shruti just have the font size bigger, and then we can
Yeah.
so that
Hi,
everybody.
Sanjay.
Hi.
Yeah, this field and this Jenkins and all are new to me, and I'm slowly exploring. And I have started self preparation by exploring different tools on the CI/CD thing. So I'm pretty much little bit. I have gained confidence that I can do if I start doing
Yeah.
these hands-on things. So yeah, I think the presentation which I am going to do will be helpful to the people who had some issues or who are yet to complete part one, not to the people who already did it. Yeah, so I will share my screen. Yeah, is it visible?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I'll start. So the applications and tools which I used are Packer, Git, Shell Script, AWS, and Jenkins. Jenkins I used as a build tool, and the prerequisites which we should have to complete this project are an AWS account with preferably IAM role, because it's a good security practice. Generally in corporate, I have learned that people won't log in with root IDs and all. And we should have a Jenkins instance and a GitHub account. And as I did using shell scripting, I had to use Linux environment and Packer installation. So coming to Jenkins, this is a reference diagram which I referred to understand the architecture shared by the PPT. So initially we will push the code to Jenkins, and then Jenkins will build the AMI using Packer. So how Jenkins will know like this is a particular code that I have to fetch from GitHub, and whether it is authenticated to get it. So for that, we should initially specify we should create a pipeline in which we should give the repository URL from where the Jenkins has to fetch the code and which branch it has to build, and what are the build steps we have to do that we have to write in the Jenkins file. And coming to the integration, we have to create a new credentials, which will be under the manage Jenkins section, and then uh, the Jenkins and GitHub connectivity can be established, that authenticity part will be established. So coming to demo, uh, so I have installed a Docker container with the Jenkins image. So my Jenkins instance is a Docker instance container image on which I have installed the Packer, which we need for uh, creating the golden image. So here, this is the Packer location. I have installed the Packer on the Docker container, and then my source code I have placed in GitHub repository. And in this GitHub repository, I have created the Packer file. So these are the profiles, the AMI name, instance type, region. And as Sanjay, you told like we can have multiple regions while creating the AMI image. I tried that initially while giving a list to include multiple regions, and later on I removed it to make it simple. And here we have, see here, the string list for AMI regions I have defined, and then we can add the AMI regions if we want multiple regions. So, and we can specify here. And this was the script which was given by you to install Git and the CloudWatch and all. So coming to the Jenkins file, as I told, we should create a secret key which we can create here. So whatever we do, like to integrate Sonar Cube, Sonar Cloud, Jenkins, everything, we should have a key to establish a confidential connectivity between them. So similarly, I did for GitHub also. This is the secret key, personalized token. So for now, as we are using public repository, Jenkins can directly fetch the code. But in case of any private repositories, we need secret keys to access, which we should give in the pipeline. So as I told, like here we have in this flow, the Jenkins will fetch the code, right? So what are the steps, like how to install, how to validate the Packer files, how to do the process, and all these entire steps which a Jenkins build has to do will be specified in a file called Jenkins file, which I have written here. Right now, this is specifying the credentials and the Packer init. As I'm using the values file, so I have given the Packer build in this format instead of direct Packer build. These var file will give the values to the AWS, sorry, to AWS Packer file. So coming to the pipeline, let me deregister this. So we should go to the dashboard, and here is the DevOps and cloud pipeline which I created. As I told, here we should give the link to the repository on which the build has to happen. If we have any specific branches, we should give that. And this is the path of Jenkins file. After that, we should, I'm building it. And here we can see the stages which we declare in the Jenkins pipeline. Those are here. Stage by stage, it will get executed. If you want to see the output, we can see the logs.
Yep, it does take a little bit of time to
it will take
install
for
everything. And
yeah. And similarly, like we can integrate the question which I was asking to Dinesh in the first PPT, first presentation was like, can we integrate the Sonar Cube similarly as we did GitHub and Sonar Cloud in this?
With this solution,
Sorry.
with Packer, you are asking?
No, I'm not asking with Packer. For Sonar Cloud, similarly, if we attach the token for the Sonar Cloud account,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool.
And
Yeah,
it
you
is
can.
scanning. Actually, it is scanning, and the syntax to execute that, I have to work on that.
Yeah, cool. So cool. That's a good effort, Shruti. And especially you mentioned you are just starting. So yeah, it's a massive effort and very nice presentation as well. So it's
Thanks.
good.
Yeah, and
I
once it
think
is done, we can list that AMI image in the EC2 console.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Nabil, before we move, and do you want to bring your video because you would have made some similar effort like Shruti did. So if you want to showcase, let's do it. Let's spend next few minutes on the demo also. You can always send that in WhatsApp, but if you can just walk us through like when the video is playing, just talk about uh, the steps that are happening behind the scenes so that it's a bit of interactive. Is that okay?
Yeah. I'm okay.
Cool.
Okay, I will share my screen. I hope you can see that, right? Hello?
We can see your screen, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I just completed my first project. So our first project create an AMI. So they have more options like Ansible and Packer. So I choose the Packer. So first I completed from my local machine, which means that whether code is completed or not. Is anything issue with the code, we can't do with the CLI. So I completed in my local machine. For that, I installed a Packer and AWS CLI as well. Then I logged in my AWS account through my AWS CLI, and I started building for using Packer init and be built. So it's perfectly running. Then I started to do with my CI/CD. So for that, I spin up a new Ubuntu instance, and in that Ubuntu instance, I created I installed Packer AWS CLA as well, and I logged into that. Then I started working with the pipeline. So the first pipeline was to build so I already store my AWS keys in that area. So I called in the first stage, and then I built that. So yeah, that's it. Then you can see, I will show you the output. So actually I completed the 21st build or something. I got a lot of errors. So yeah.
Cool. So this is again like it will install the required packages and have the AMI ready. Cool. Very nice. So just follow these like some of the points that we already discussed. Understand it's a regional service and it's a private AMI that you are creating for your company, and add Packer, Ansible, shell scripting to your resume. That's enough shell scripting and all we need, right? Like we usually don't have to spend a lot of time on these skills because they are not differentiating skills. They will not make you stand different from other people. Skills like Ansible, Packer, these different tools will definitely. So add these skills and hopefully you start getting a lot of calls and your interest.
Adding to
Okay.
that, Sanjeev, yesterday I've seen like I wanted to integrate Sneak with this Packer code, but
Mhm.
somehow it didn't work. Generally, I mean, Sneak works with only the Java and all that application code itself.
Right, right.
Not I was a
It
little too much. It was shocker to me because I didn't knew about it. So yeah,
This code
that's
usually is not scanned for security. Packer is not really required because uh, Packer is going to produce an image, and it's very hard to know that quality of that image that you have created. It's mainly when you there are other ways how you would scan an EC2 instance created from that image.
okay. Okay.
So Sneak may not support it, but Sneak does support CloudFormation, Terraform code that we create. So it does support that infra as code, other areas that I have tested.
Okay.
Cool. So while we are on Sneak, maybe just like something that I did, I can just briefly show you. So it shouldn't be a blank session for everyone. So this is what I had a lot of private projects in my repositories. So this is where it has integrated with some of my private repositories, and you see these different. This is a .NET framework. It tells me that there is a critical issue, there is a high severity issue, and a medium and low severity issue. This another repository has which is a Terraform one has high severity issue. So you can create your different pipelines also later on, because as I mentioned, free version may not allow creating those pipelines, but uh, you can just browse any one of your project or this one also, the pet clinic also, and you can see um, that specific it says that this is a high very critical issue because it allows remote code execution. So just read about these some of these terms, like what kind of issues you found. Remote code execution, somebody can take control of your application or your server, they can run code from their remote location, and this got fixed in some system.text.encoding specific version 472. So this was a issue in 471 but got fixed in 472. So that's an easy fix you can perform. uh, Similarly, for some high severity issues, it will say that uh, some JSON parser, or this is a very famous package for parsing the JSON files and all, issue found in insecure defaults. So if you are using default values with this one, then insecure, and then it got fixed in this one, latest version. So this sort of things you get, and the manual steps that I'm doing, you can do it in your pipeline also. You can say if everything is your package is being built fine, everything is working fine, but in the process you get a critical vulnerability, then you just stop your pipeline. That sort of things are possible. If the score is more than 700, then stop the pipeline. So that sort of feature you can add to your pipeline, but may not be possible in the free version.
Yeah, and yesterday also I have integrated our pet clinic project for this Sneak. I just wanted to show that. Just a minute. I will just take
Sure.
some time. If you can see my screen.
Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. This is the pet clinic one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the pet clinic one where we got one high and two mediums. So where we got a one high with a remote code execution. Just now you've told about that, right? I mean, someone can remotely can access this code.
So
Yeah.
Sanjeev, is it not
Uh,
like depend about Git depend about?
Yeah, exactly. Same sort of thing. Yes, that tells you as well. But because that's a GitHub feature, not every organization will be using GitHub, and uh, that like you would be using your own Bitbucket or any other repository, then this helps identifying such issues.
I mean, even though, I mean, if we get like higher and mediums, generally in our production level, what is the score? Is it a 700 or way below than that to go ahead to build a
It's
project?
usually a very high number because uh, again depends if your company that you are working is some sort of bank or has very high compliance requirements, then maybe not usually score, but critical issues you will focus critical and high severity issues.
Okay.
Medium and low priority are very difficult because there will be hundred of such issues. This is just pet clinic, right? It's just some
Yeah.
basic input output kind of projects in database. But any such complex project where there is a presentation layer, it works on mobile phones and it also works on tablets and
Mm.
desktops. Those sort of applications have hundreds and thousands of lines of code, and then they are containerized, they are Docker files. So it's massive. So then it becomes very complex, and people usually target critical and high severity issues.
Okay.
And just
So, I
read
mean,
about some of these findings also. Put any
Mm.
very old repository, something which is public repository, but 5, 6 years old and is having a lot of source code, massive source code, hundreds of thousands of
Mhm.
lines. Just in, integrate that with this one. Also make sure that that's a web application, presentation layer. So if there is an HTML code, those sort of thing, then integrate that and read what those critical issues are. Just get an idea. Remote code execution is one. Uh, Something called SQL injection, or that could be the other one. Then cross site scripting is another such area that it will show. So just focus on these 2 or 3 findings. Understand
Okay.
how those are used by the attackers and how they can get access to your application, your servers, and that sort of thing. Remember 2, 3 things very common in interviews and discussions. Give me top
Mm.
3, give me top 2, or give me some idea how Sonar helped. Do you know about security? So any such question you can bring this into conversation.
Okay. Okay. Do you know? Okay. Let's have such an online. No problems. Fine. Thank you, Sanjeev.
Thank you
I'm
so
just writing.
much. So
So
we
yeah, hello, yeah. So what is the what is Sonar Cloud and instead of the Sonar Cube or something?
I think
I,
Sonar Cube
it's
is more
more.
like you install, manage yourself, self-hosted,
Okay.
and Sonar Cloud is another offering. Different products have different offerings, right?
Yeah.
Something you will manage, you will install, and
Mm.
something as a SaaS product where they will manage the installation, upgrade, and all those, and then you will just consume that. So they are
Okay.
similar from the same family, but in different flavors.
Okay. Thank you.
So you have this option with Terraform also. You have a Terraform open source where you download, install, manage yourself. Then there is a Terraform cloud version as well, where um, HashiCorp manages the installation and all other on their environment and the the state management and everything. Uh, there is then other options, Terraform Enterprise, where you download and you manage. So these based on requirements of companies, they use it. But again, it's a very important question to understand. Do you actually send your source code to Sonar Cloud and or to Sneak, and then do they evaluate this? Because some companies may have objection to this because that may be a security issue on their side. Somebody is getting their source code. But usually these companies, they have some agent running on your machine or your site, and then that that manages all the scans. Okay, before we go to next demo with Atul, just want to highlight, because I see a lot of people have started on their second phase. Now, second phase pipeline, I don't want that in the same repository, or you can say same workflow, same pipeline. Make sure you have a different pipeline for that.
You mean
Okay.
different branch?
Okay.
You can have a different repository altogether.
Yeah.
You
Different
because
repository.
different repository. Don't use the same repository, and because one thing I would prefer if they go as separate uh, repositories in your GitHub repository, and then it becomes a bit of, show off kind of thing that you have multiple repositories. But more important to that, the bigger reason is that this was an image where we can, this is a one time activity in maybe 2-3 months when you have a image being built for a project or something like that. But so that's why we didn't go into branch level build and deployment sort of thing. But when we come to an application that gets built and deployed very frequently, if not deployment, then build happens like every hour, every 2 hour, depending upon how many developers are there in the project. So here the workflow has to be differentiated for a branch and a feature branch, and then in the main branch, once you do a pull request and you merge, then the workflow is similar, but you would want to differentiate, like look at Maven snapshot and release builds and those sort of things. Again, very common questions in these are in the interviews, like how do you build? Do you deploy from your feature branch or release branch or master branch and that sort of thing? So uh, just focus on that. Every time you are building your base, your branch is, you are building from every branch as well. So that's why it will be very convenient. It will be easier to have it in a separate repository and treat them as two different projects.
Okay.
Okay.
And before that, I wanted to just a minute, Sanjeev. I think I'm going a little back. Previously, you've mentioned like these some companies might object to using Sneak or Sonar Cube or Sonar Cloud. I mean, is that something which they will use OWASP dependency check?
This company Sneak.
No, no, no. I mean, some people you said like won't use Sneak or Sonar Cube or Sonar Cloud because of the maybe some other people might see the code, right?
Yeah, correct.
What they
So
will use?
no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
will they
That
use?
solution, no. Solution for that is not moving to another tool or something. It's what happens is right now we are integrating our repository with Sneak directly. That's not how organization will use that, right? They will be using something like a Jenkins, where the Jenkins agent will have, in this case, we install Packer on that. In the future, we can install Sneak agent on top of that machine. And then that Sneak agent will evaluate your source code on that Jenkins agent itself.
Okay, okay,
So yeah, Jenkins
yeah,
agent is in your control. Your company will manage that. So Sneak, how Sneak solves that problem is, okay, we don't take your source code. We will install a sort of package or an agent on your Jenkins or GitLab agent or any GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps, whatever agent you are using. Just install Sneak agent on your machine and scan your source code there, and that agent will isolate the source code and will only send the vulnerabilities to the Sneak server. So on the UI, you will still see everything, but it will not have exact copy of your code and all that. It will just be showing you that this project has issue on this line, but will not have the source code information.
okay, yeah, that helps. Thank you.
And this like if any product, most of the products offer this, but usually when we are comparing these different products, that's how we look at them. Like, do they offer this feature or not? If somebody is not offering this sort of feature, then that's a deal breaker.
So similarly, GitHub doesn't have that feature like agent where you can install, but GitLab does. You can install the GitLab agent in in your, because it will be in your control.
Yes.
Similarly, we can have the Sneak agent and Sonar Cloud agent also installed and have it isolated
And it's
from
a
the
small
security
package. It's not
perspective.
not a very
Yeah.
complex set sort of thing. It's just it will usually be either in a Docker file or an RPM deployment, something like that. You just download the package and just run it.
Yes.
But unfortunately, they don't offer this sort of feature in the free version. Otherwise, we would have done a pretty much CI/CD sort of demo. Because I used it in one of the company. And why I emphasize on this product, I have been getting a lot of LinkedIn HRs and people reaching out based on Sneak being in my resume, and so they will search. A lot of these people are searching for these specific keywords, and then that's how they reach out to people. All right, let's move to Atul then. Atul, you take over, please.
Yeah, hi, everyone. So I am also new to the DevOps world. I am working as a virtualization engineer now, but like I am part of the automation team, so I use VRO, TypeScript, JFrog in my project. So I'm a bit similar to the DevOps, but not exactly in the DevOps profile. So coming to the project, I have completed only the. Let me share my screen first. So I have used the JSON file instead of HCL. So I have basically written a small simple project in which I am building a AMI using that ABS, and this is the name which I have given, and I have given the shell commands over here, and going to the shell file. I have included one more command in it, which is to install the Docker on the AMI. So in which I experienced one issue. Previously, I was giving only this command sudo yum install Docker, but while installing it, it asked for a question: Do you want to proceed or not? Because we are not giving that answer in the shell, it was getting failed. So I've included yes as well in front of it, so that that can work out, and it worked fine. And one other issue which I faced during the project is that, uh, as Sanjeev told us earlier, that we don't have to share our access keys and all. So what I did is that I created one more repo with a private uh, security feature and included my access key and secret key in that to get it integrated in the Jenkins, because I have not used Jenkins. I was thinking that it will get the password from there. So what happened is that I saw today when I joined in this call, I was trying to open my project and trying to run the command. So AWS also already got that notification that I have shared my AWS secret key somewhere. So they blocked my account. So they
Very
sent
good.
me an email that you have shared on this particular GitHub profile your secret key. So please remove that first. Then we will remove. Then we will restart or enable your account once again.
Yes, yes. So that's a good feature on AWS side. That's why I was insisting, don't commit your secrets in any private repository or any, maybe it was a public repo as well, Atul.
No, this is the one, and this was, I believe, I made it private
I
only.
don't think they can scan your private repository. I don't think nobody will have access to your private repo.
I
It
will
must
go
be a
through once
public.
again I will go through once again the email which they sent to me, and
But yeah, more importantly, never do that. Even if you get your repository, just get rid of that. That could be massive setback if that goes onto your resume or your
Yeah.
base repository goes, and then people can see that your other repositories have credentials.
The repo which I shared in the group, it was not having that. So I
Yeah,
was
I saw
planning to
that
use it
it
in.
was missing, but
Yeah.
the way you are providing that is also not correct. Like you don't
Yeah.
merge these two repositories, and that's how you don't do that. You look at the
Yeah.
repositories that Dinesh and Shruti and everybody else has
Access.
shown. So yeah.
Yeah. And then I simply ran that command, packer build ami code.json, and it started working for me. So this was a simple one, and I will make some improvements in it as I've seen the project of other guys as well. So
Yes.
thanks
Yeah.
for the
So this is, you
guidance.
are doing it on your command line, but do it through a pipeline.
Yeah, I will create a Jenkins pipeline as well. I was
Yes.
facing the one issue is there that plugin for saving the credential is not available. I have tried to download the HPI file and include it, but it is still not working. So I will check in the Jenkins and start working on it.
Cool, 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 cool.
So that is all from my side.
All right. This is good. Good learning. Never do that again. Anyone, never put your credentials. It actually, just like AWS scanning, a lot of hackers and those people have simple, programs running on their side. Any new repository coming, and the pattern like AWS access key and secret, if that sort of thing, or even Azure or Google, any such credentials are being put there, they will use that to mine cryptocurrencies and all that sort of thing. They will create thousands of instances within few minutes in your account. So I think that's all right. Is anyone else also want to showcase before we open for questions and close the discussion for today? Some of them were like, yeah, bit of repeat for people, but it's good, right? Like you people are putting so much effort, so it's good to showcase that sort of whatever we have achieved in this week. And this was a small one, especially it has one in the main branch you can do anything, so that sort of thing. Next week, look at how you would want to build for your feature branch and how you would want to build for your master branch. And when anything automatically gets like through using pull request, if things are merged to master branch, then your pipeline should also trigger at that point in time also. So what else? I think we covered a lot of things. Pet clinic still seems to be stable. Don't see any major issue being reported. So
Sanjay, for me
yeah,
also the pet clinic build was failing even in
okay,
local and using Jenkins as well.
okay.
I browsed few articles. It was stating that POM XML should be modified, but it's not a DevOps engineer's role. A developer should take care of it, right? No.
Just follow the README file there. It will, if it has some placeholders that pom.xml has to be modified, then yes, that's a DevOps engineer. Or we
No,
don't have that opportunity that we go back to a developer now. So we have to somehow fill that gap.
Yeah, I referred other articles like stating this issue, then how to debug that. Then I
Okay,
found one article they were stating that we should modify pom.xml.
okay, okay.
So
Just
still that issue is there.
troubleshoot
Yeah.
that sort of thing in the next 1 or 2 days. If we have 1 or 2 success, then we will stick to this. Otherwise, I'll find something else, or we'll find out the steps how that can be rectified. So
Okay,
I'll
Sanjay.
work on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Um,
yesterday, even when I've tried with the Gradle, it worked fine. When I used a Maven, it was failing. I mean, it was even for me, pom.xml is looking for, this Maven is looking for one plugin in pom.xml that I'm not sure about which plugin it is. I will try once I find out and post it in the chat. And later I tried that, include that in the pom.xml and try to rerun that, but it not successful for me. And I've changed again to the original code's pom.xml, and then it worked fine. Not sure how it is possible.
okay, let's see. We're not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
What else do we cover? I think in between when we are talking, I have covered some of the points about Sneak and about other areas. So I don't have anything specific. Anything more to add? Somebody unable to execute sonar analysis failed
This
to.
was the error I was getting. So
Yeah, that's because you are supposed to give the token, sonar token.
I have given the sonar token.
You have to variabilize it and
Yeah,
do that.
in
I mean,
Jenkins
you
file
have
I
to
have
give the
updated. Okay, I'll check on that.
you have to give the command. You just connect with me, or I'll see your you if
Yeah,
you share the screen or the
yeah.
snapshot. If you show me
I'll,
later on,
yeah,
I will see
yeah.
what's going.
Okay, thank you.
All right, then we will close the call. I will try to publish this video for others on the YouTube channel and share the link with everyone. And let's stay connected. Will, you have something to say?
Yes, hi Sanjeev, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, good morning here. This is Will from Florida calling in. Here it's six o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
Uh, so I had to wake up very early to follow this presentation as well as last week presentation, which for me are really, really great. And I feel like personally I am still at the bottom of the presentation. I've been watching over and over your first video to make sure that I understood every step of the way what you were asking of us. And within a week, I realized that I needed to go back and learn. I knew some basics of what you required us of, like Ansible, Terraform. So I had to go back and try to relearn again those skills, which are very crucial. And even Git, whether it's Jenkins, I'm trying to also learn from those zero to hero course to be able to catch up and be on the same speed as everybody. Um, and I'm going to use, I think someone shared, you said a presentation about how they build the base AMI. And that's something also I will be watching the
Yep.
next few days and really try to catch up to people like Dinesh, who did a very good job today. I don't know if Dinesh will be available sometime this week or next week. Maybe we can link up real quick and so he can maybe mentor me. So
This is very, very awesome thing and very good commitment from your side, waking up so early and trying to be connected with everyone. Yeah, I'm sure you can get some help from the repositories that people have are going to post in the channel, and also looking at the video that I will publish. But this is the main objective, right? People have a sort of assumption that they are ready for industry, they are ready for interviews and everything. So by doing this sort of simple project, if they can go back and understand, yes, they need to learn few more things before they are ready for that, and accepting that, that they need to build some similar projects before they can go for those interviews and that sort of thing.
Yeah, Will, I'll be available for you. I mean, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach me out. I'll definitely help if I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And one last question here. So these projects, which is a DevOps project that we are working on, um, are we still considered as solution architects when we are doing such projects, or we are purely DevOps?
So the first two projects I would say are more of DevOps engineer or cloud engineer kind of thing. But the third project, when we do, that takes you uh, beyond an engineer, because you are also designing that solution, how those different subnets have to be designed, how do you ensure security. There is one point, if you saw my presentation, we will also document what is the RPO and RTO for our application, and we will see do how we improve that RPO and RTO. Those sort of discussions, decisions, and things are for architects. And so I won't say it will make you an architect overnight or that sort of thing, but that takes you into that shoe that you are thinking or talking about an architect and thinking it as per how they think that the solution should be secure, scalable, uh, operationally efficient. So you are thinking in that direction also in the third part of the project. First and second are more DevOps engineer, cloud engineer focused, because they are more hands-on. Third one is hands-on plus a lot of designing.
Sanjay, I have a question. See, how many, as you know, the project is very interesting. So, how many such projects do you think, if we do, we can call ourselves as, okay, we are, good DevOps engineer. We
I
are able to.
I think two or three such projects would be reasonable. That should be, because when we are learning, right, it all depends how much hands-on we have done there. It all
Mm.
depends also in our day-to-day job, are we getting those sort of opportunities? If we are very new and not getting much opportunities there, then at least three such projects are really useful. Then they cover a lot of other, but those should be like, there shouldn't be a lot of overlap between them. So slightly
Yes,
mutually
exactly. It should
exclusive
be
projects.
different.
So like I couldn't cover a lot of Kubernetes in this, a
Mm.
lot of other areas in the industry that are useful. So I will try to come up with more such projects, and then we can do that. Or you can find online also some complex labs or some complex projects, and you can build it.
Okay. All right.
Just also
So
get
you have.
validated from someone in the industry. Just get validated that this is what you did. uh, you will see, yesterday I was checking with one person, and he did a static website, but he did it on an EC2 instance. So I said, static website, you can do it on an S3 bucket. If you take this solution to any customer, that for a static website, I will have to create an EC2 instance. It's doable. In cloud, a lot of things are possible, but an EC2 would cost much more, right? Which on an S3
Yes.
bucket is pretty cheap. So that's a base similar sort of thing. You build something, you show it to somebody who can validate this and guide you.
Yes. So you also have any other projects in the pipeline for the next month?
I am planning one in August as well. I will probably
Uh,
do a different one that
a little
you guys
complex than
slightly
this one.
complex, and I would probably this time I would leave people to design also. Like I will not give them a three-tier architecture or something. I will explain them the requirements and will ask them to come up with a solution design as well before they implement. So just thinking right now, I'm just thinking I'll start, I'm just writing down some points, but I will finalize it in the last week of July, depending upon how many people join and how they want. If a lot of people don't join or that sort of thing, then I will go back to the same. I may repeat the same project also for people. But if you guys are more interested, we can do a Kubernetes based project as well.
I think I
We'll see. let's make this one a successful, and we'll see how that happens. Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Sanjeev, for your for the project, because I was literally looking for many other videos like Kubernetes or Ansible, all the DevOps tools, but I didn't have any hands-on knowledge on them. Because of the project, I could able to do a little more hands-on, install much more applications in it, and do here and there. Yeah, it really helps us. Thank you very much.
Just stay charged up, stay active. This was small piece. This was easiest. So you guys have the biggest task is in the task 3. That is the most complex. So if you get to finish this quickly, you will have 2 weeks to work on that, and that will be very difficult to accomplish in 2 weeks. There are a lot of components there. If anyone completes that third stage, would be a very good accomplishment. That would not be very straightforward to reach there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that. So just move quickly, get to a level where we finish the part 2 fairly quickly. If we don't succeed with Pet Clinic in the next 2-3 days, we will switch to another repository or something which has an RDS and same fundamental. It should have a Docker option, and it should have a database component. So we'll switch to another repository. If you guys get some such repository, then do share that in the group. And yeah, that I hope when we do the third phase, we'll have a lot more cloud questions, networking, how you integrate load balancer with these different EC2 instances that we are going to create. So yeah, let's do this two, you can say, first baby steps, and then we'll move on to the third one.
Yes, Sanjay. Thank you.
Thank you. Shajin, you have some question?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit off topic, but on topic as well. I'm actually from an infrastructure side of things. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch the last session. So where can I find it?
I did sent out an email from TopMate to everyone.
Okay. All
so
right.
You can check that, or you can reach out to me on WhatsApp. I can. Have you joined the WhatsApp group of July batch?
Yes, I am the in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah. So I pasted the link there or not? I don't remember, but I can paste that link to that last week's video again.
Sure. And Sanjeev, you are based out of Australia right now, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So the last session was the first session in this series, right?
Correct. This is the second one, and we divided the entire project into 3 phases. Phase 1, where we are creating the base image, Packer based. Step 2 is creating a containerized image of the application, and third one is where you will understand the public private subnets, installing RDS, load balancers, and all those infra components.
Sure. I have a few more questions that may come down the line, so I'll just reach out to you on WhatsApp.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. You watch the video, reach out to questions to me anytime.
Sure, definitely. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. All right, guys, I think we'll close the call for today. And I will send out the link for next week's session. Next week's session is going to be on 17th, guys. That you have to excuse me. That's like I have already sent you that in the video also I mentioned. That's on Monday evening or afternoon for India folks. So just block your calendars on those 1.5 hours if you are working. So that would be on same time, but on Monday. And all future sessions then we will switch back to Saturday sort of schedule. Everything is there in the last week's presentation. So
yeah.
All right, then I'll close the call, and thank you so much for joining, and let's connect next week.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank,
All right,
thank you.
Sanjay. See